You know the vibes! Welcome to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast presented by NBA 2K23. Mo Musi and PJ Armstrong. PJ, have you looked at Twitter today? Have you seen the Twitter feed today?
I have not, Mo. What's going on? What's
the
going on?
people are showing love. So today, Spotify released what's called Spotify Wrapped. And if you're a user of Spotify, BJ uses iTunes because he's old school. So he doesn't dare use the streaming service. He's an old school G.
Yes.
But for us Spotify users, they give you a nice little wrap up of everything you've been listening to this year. So it tells you which artist you've listened to the most, which song you've been listening to the most. Shout out to Marlon Craft. I was representing, that's the homie, most listened to.
Shout out.
But it also shows you, BJ, which podcasts you listen to the most. And today, I was in a very important meeting. And BJ, you know me, I never turn my phone off.
Right.
I had to turn my phone off.
Oh.
Because so many people were sending screenshots saying that we are their most listened to podcast of the year.
Wow.
My notifications were blowing up. And I was just sat in this meeting smiling like an idiot. And everyone's saying, Mo, why are you so happy? And I'm like, just look at the feed. Just look at the people. Look at the people who have listened to us. There's people who have listened to us. Oh man, I don't even know how many minutes. There's some crazy listeners who have listened to almost every episode that we put out. 6,000 minutes worth of our voices. Some of them 7,000 minutes.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So to all of you guys who use Spotify and have us in your top podcast of the year, especially to those who have us at number one, because I saw some people and they had I saw someone have JJ Redick at number one. I saw someone have Draymond Green ahead of us. It's all love with you guys, don't get me wrong, but we need the number one spot. Next year, I want to be number one on everyone's shows, but the amount of people who had us at number one, BJ, I tried to count it up, I lost count. The amount of people, I'm going to make a list. I'm going to make a list of, everyone who had us at number one. And I'm going to reward the people. How we're going to do that is going to be revealed soon. But just know that the loyalty and the realness will be rewarded because it means the world to us. People who have listened to us for thousands of minutes, hundreds of hours.
Yes.
We salute you. And that's why we do this.
Yes. Well, I'm just humbled by this. So thank you. It's so much fun every day for you and I to come on, talk about basketball, talk basketball with you, interact with our listeners and the people who, are checking for us. So we're just going to keep giving them great content. We're just going to keep talking about basketball, talking about the game we all love, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone, the listeners, you, me, the game. And so, thank you. I'm humbled that people are replying and feel comfortable enough to let us know. So it's love. It's all love. So appreciate it. Thank you.
And I've had some really nice messages. BJ don't use Instagram and any of that, but I've had some really nice messages. People saying that we've helped them get into basketball. We've helped them rediscover their love for the game. So I just want to say thank you because that's why we do this. We do this show every day. Over 200 episodes in a year. No one else is putting in work like this. BJ and I record this. I produce it, edit it, promote it, clip it up, put it on social for you guys. That's why we do this, to spread the love of the game, to spread the wonderful knowledge that Mr. Armstrong shares with us. I've had people come up to me in the streets, BJ. BJ, I've had people come up to me in the streets this week talking about your Air Force Ones.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
It's all love.
What's going on out there in the game? Speaking of the game, what's going on out here, Mo?
So, one of the best the best game so far this season, in my opinion, was the game that we talked about yesterday. The Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh,
Went down to the wire.
We can't get away from Dallas right now.
We can't get away from Dallas, and Luka can't get away from the record books. Another 40-point triple-double, surpassing Wilt Chamberlain, I believe. And if your name's mentioned next to Wilt, it's historic. What a game.
How about that?
What a game. If you guys, I promise you, if you only watch highlights, if you want to watch one full game, go back and watch this. We had an ejection, Spencer Dinwiddie. What's going on with Jordan Poole? Why is everyone trying to break his face? First it was Draymond Green. now it's Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah, that was a nasty hit. Yeah, that was a nasty hit.
Yeah, he got ejected. Golden State thought that they'd run away with it. Dallas stayed around. Josh Green hit some big shots, but Luka was just doing everything, man. Right. Luka was just doing everything. Steph was doing his thing. Steph got called for a travel on what could have been the game-winning shot. Right. Was it 10 or 15 travels that were called in that game? It was the
interesting because there's an emphasis now put on traveling.
I wanted to get your thoughts.
Every year the NBA, the NBA every year makes, they make an emphasis, or they have an emphasis to try to clean up the game for the integrity of the game. And look, I get it. I understand it. I mean, sometimes even I, right, was a huge advocate, for the players. Okay, but sometimes, you'll see a player take a travel. You're like, come on, you can't let a guy take that
Steph Curry one. Just let him shoot the ball, man. Come on, we're on the edge of our seats. We don't want to call it a travel.
I didn't even think that was a travel. I mean,
it was because he moved his pivot foot. So it technically when you watch the replay, it was a travel. But it's the NBA. We've seen players get away with.
We've seen worse. Yeah. So, however, I'm okay with that. And the reason I'm okay with this call or them calling this, the referees calling it like this, is because the players are incredibly resilient. The players are incredibly adaptive. They will adapt. That's the great thing about these NBA players. They will adapt, and they will adapt to the game and how the game is being called. So all you want is a consistent whistle. If you're calling it that way, call it that way for everyone. If you're calling it that way on the perimeter, also call it that way when guys are driving to the basket. But just be consistent. So I'm okay with it. If that's the way they're going to call it, fine. I will adapt. However, if it appears to be that the referees are picking and choosing when to call it, then that's when you're going to have a problem. It's a travel on this player, but not a travel on that player. So the thing I respect about it is they call the travel on a star player in a key moment of the game. So I respect that.
There were 10 travel calls in the Golden State Dallas game, 6 in the New York Detroit game, and another 3 in the Clippers Portland game. That's 6.3 per game, 5 times last season's average of 1.3, 4 times this October's average 1.7. A massive crackdown on travels across the NBA. Now, of all things they could call, I don't know. I don't know. Did I really watch games last season and say I wish they were calling travels? No, it's not EuroLeague. That's the beauty of the NBA. It's designed to promote scoring. Let the players play. But having said that, it leads to tying up everyone's fundamentals and, maybe better basketball in the long run. Who knows?
I'm okay with it. As long as they're consistent on the perimeter and driving to the basket. If the players will adapt. So, you know what? These guys are practicing every day. If you know how the referees are going to call it, you'll make the proper adjustments and it'll be fine.
So we have some news and update, 2 notable updates. Number one, we're going to discuss both of these, but Bucks star Khris Middleton is nearing his season debut, potentially as soon as Friday against the Lakers.
What's going on with Khris, by the way?
Lakers can't catch a break. and then number 2, James Harden is targeting a return on a current 3-game road trip, likely in Houston on Monday. So let's start with Khris Middleton and the Bucks. He got assigned to the G League team to go and practice with them. Everyone was probably confused and like, oh, he's playing for the G. No, he just went to practice, get some reps in. So he doesn't have to travel with the NBA team. And now he's going to make his return.
What's going on with Khris, by the way? What's the injury? Because, it's been a lot of speculation when he's going to come back.
So it was a wrist surgery he had in the offseason.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the MCL sprain that he had in the first round of the playoffs last year.
Okay, that's what I was,
because he missed the 10 games in the postseason with the MCL sprain, and then they lost to the Celtics.
So he's fully recovered from that.
Yes, and he had a wrist surgery in the offseason. I'm not sure what the exact injury was with his wrist, but for a shooter like Khris, it's good to hear that he's back healthy. The Bucks have been holding it down, though. What are they, 14-5 without him? Second in the East?
Hey, Giannis is great. Giannis is fine. Wherever he's at, they'll figure it out.
Well, there have been talks about Grayson Allen being traded and his name being put out there by the Milwaukee Bucks. And now...
For what? What are they looking for?
Well, it's front court depth that they're looking for. Because obviously Brook Lopez missed a lot of time with injuries last season. Giannis can't do everything, and you want to keep Brook kind of fresh. So I think they want some depth in the front court. And his name's been in trade talks. And now with Khris coming back, that makes him even more dispensable, I guess. I want to shout out to Javon Carr, who played really well at the point guard spot, with some of the smaller lineups they go with. He's been doing good. But now I think that it opens the door to Grayson Allen to be traded. The Phoenix Suns, who a lot of people said that not Middleton, Allen could be traded for Crowder. The Phoenix Suns want a power forward in return for Jay Crowder, which makes sense.
The number one seed in the Western Conference, Phoenix Suns?
Without Jay Crowder, without Chris Paul for half the season so far, and without Cam Johnson, who's out with his Achilles, they want a power forward in return for Crowder.
Who's out with their Achilles? Who's out
Cam
with their
Johnson.
Achilles?
Was there not an Achilles for Cam Johnson?
No, I thought it was a knee. I thought it was just a knee.
Oh, yeah. My bad. I'm getting all... It's
I was going to say.
Meniscus and Achilles.
Yeah,
medical. Listen, I never made it as a doctor, much to the dismay of my parents. And this is exactly why. I'm pretty sure to this day they'd be happier if I went and became a doctor now, despite everything I'm doing in basketball. But that's besides the point. Anyway, the Phoenix Suns want to get
can we say this? Can we say this? Devin Booker should be in the MVP conversation.
Put him in that conversation.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We agree. You and I agree. That's okay. Let's move right along.
We don't have to move on. We can talk about this if you want to talk about this for a little bit.
Yeah, I just talk about him. I want to talk about Jason.
49.
Talk about Jason Tatum. Just make sure we talk about Jason Tatum too.
No, we don't need to.
MVP conversation.
What's understood does not need to be explained, my friend. You all know Jason Tatum is comfortably a top 3 MVP player this year. But we could talk about Devin Booker. Let's talk about
Devin for a little bit.
I had a message from a listener of the show, and they messaged me saying, who do you think is going to win the West? I think the Suns will win the West in the regular season, but I think they'll flop in the playoffs again. Do you think that this is a year? Because every year I say this to you. I've said it on TV so many times. For the Suns to get to the finals again, or to win the finals, Devin Booker has to be a superstar. We've seen him play like a superstar in games, but we need to see him do it in a 7-game series for the whole time. He didn't do it in the NBA Finals. He didn't do it against Dallas. We need to see him make that leap from a really, really, really good player, from an all-star player to a superstar player. Do you think this is finally the year that we see that? Because that changes the whole dynamic. Well, it's not Chris Paul's good, Booker's good, Ayton's good. This is Devin Booker's team. He's a superstar, and this is the supporting cast.
Well, it's always interesting. When you have these players, it's always something, right? That, and I say we, the media or critics or what have you, will put out in front of a player and say, well, he's not a great player. Well, why is he a great player? Well, he can't be a superstar, okay? When you start playing in the conference finals and the NBA finals, listen, when you play against Giannis is the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in order for you to beat him in a 7-game series, right, you could beat him 1 game, maybe you can beat him 2 games, but it's going to take some superhuman efforts. All right. And I'm talking career efforts from multiple people to beat Giannis. Just ask the Celtics last year.
Yep. Grant Williams, Al Horford,
Horford.
superhuman.
I mean, okay. I mean, those guys will. I'll say it here. I don't think those guys will ever play a game like that again. But they did it. Well, we hope they do. But Al Horford was so good that one game in the playoffs last year that you had to like applaud him. And then out of nowhere, Grant Williams comes up with the game of his life. Now, give those guys credit for showing up in big moments,
and Tatum,
okay?
that game 6 on the road to keep the series alive.
Tatum, well, I'll tell you, he was. Okay. Now, is it fair for me to sit here and say I'm expecting Devin Booker to do that for 4 games? Is he capable of having a game? Yes.
It might not be fair, but it's what has to happen if you're going to play against a team of that caliber.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, to play against Giannis, but you have to
you
do
know
it.
What I mean? You have to do it.
It's not fair, BJ.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to go down there and say Devin Booker's not a superstar. And the reason being is because I've watched this young man for quite some time now. And there's 2 things I love about Devin Booker. Well, it's 3 things. 1, I love his competitive spirit. Okay, he's a very competitive player. Second, offensively, Mo, that man can put that ball in the basket. Okay, he's a terrific offensive one-on-one player. Okay, and the third thing I really like him, Mo, is I've never seen him run away from a matchup. He takes on his matchup on both ends of the court. He's just not an offensive juggernaut where he doesn't play and doesn't take on when he plays against other really good players, he takes on that matchup. He's not hiding on the defensive side of the basketball. And that to me is very important for your leadership, but more importantly, the respect of your peers. So there are some players, Mo, who are, LeBron James, you can argue is a better talent. You can argue KD. When I say a better talent, he's bigger, he's stronger, he affects the game in more ways than maybe Devin Booker. He can do something maybe Devin Booker can't do. Kevin Durant, Giannis, and those guys. However, Devin Booker is going to come up and show up. He's going to show up to that game and he's going to compete. And that to me is all you can ask. And I respect him for that. I think he's having a terrific season. He had another terrific season just a year ago. And it's just like sometime, when you're like people can say that about Karl Malone. You can say that about Charles Barkley. Oh, they didn't win a championship. Da. Well, however, you know what? If Michael Jordan was just a superior talent, there's just no doubt. I mean, for those who watch the game and for us who play the game, listen, there's a reason those guys win multiple championships. Those guys are really, really that good. Okay. So I don't have a problem with a player like Devin Booker who shows up every single night, plays hard on both ends, and plays a winning brand of basketball. All right. And I'm seeing this young man really develop his leadership skills right in front of us from when he first came into the league. It's not like he came to the Phoenix Suns and they were a good team. They were struggling when he first got there. So to see him turn this franchise around, to see him overcome the obstacles, Mo, just a year ago, all right, less than a year ago, they lose a game 7, Mo, that I didn't know how they were going to respond to.
The worst game 7 I've ever seen.
Mo. Okay. Devin Booker, clearly he's regrouped. Clearly, and they're down players, and they're still playing at a high level. So that speaks volumes about this young man. You put a challenge in front of him, Mo, the man shows up. Now, that to me is all you can ask. You can't ask more than that. Now, when you meet some of these guys, Jokic last year, Mo, what are you going to say? I mean, that guy was playing lights out, right?
That's the Joker.
Yeah, that's it. Like, that's
you just called Batman.
Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid. What are you going to do? When Steph Curry is making shots, like he's doing, what are you going to do? Like, nothing. You gotta roll with it.
You just pray.
That's all you can do, So if that's what you're saying, I can live with that. But if those guys don't have their normal out of this world performance, Devin Booker's right there.
Yeah.
Okay. He's right there.
Last season, he didn't have his first 40-point game until the team's 41st game. So halfway into the season. Right. This year, he's already had 2 over the last 6 games or whatever it may be. He is in a zone, and he is in a zone that many men find themselves in because he has one of the most public relationships, and we don't do the gossip stuff. But the news, the headline news, main news outlets were reporting about his ending his relationship with the Kylie Jenner or Kendall Jenner, the Kardashian girl. And ever since then, he's been a whole different zone. You know, when you break up with your girl and you go to the gym and you get super hedged. You know, you just, oh, no, I'm all about me. I'm in my grind now. Oh, she gonna regret this. That's what Devin Booker's doing. Salute to you, Devin. I see you. I see you, King. Yeah, that's what he's on right now.
I'm not mad at Devin Booker. I don't know what other people see, but you know what? I see arguably the best 2 guard in the NBA. Okay. I mean, that young man there, hey, that you can just say it. That man there is he makes his argument every night on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up. Okay. And you know what, Mo? I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with this league, but I know this. He gives himself a chance every game he plays in.
Absolutely.
And I'll ride with that all day, every day, twice on Sundays. Okay, I'll ride with that one. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Devin Booker is a great, great player, and he should be respected as such.
So we would talk about James Harden returning, but if you've been listening to the show for a while, I can tell you exactly what BJ Armstrong will say about the Philadelphia 76ers and James Harden. Tyrese Maxey has to be the best player in the regular season for them to succeed. So we're not going to talk about that. We had more news today from our friend Shams Charania, who may or may not be the owner of Twitter account Hoop Central. He came out today and denied it. However, we all know the truth. We're not going to get into that. If you guys didn't know, the Twitter account, The Hoop Central, which is like a meme page that posts scores and highlights and basically got exposed for being Shams' burner account. But anyway, he came out with a tweet today that says, the NBA informed teams that the 2023-2024 season will start on October the 24th, 2023, and conclude April the 14th, 2024, which is just pretty much normal for an NBA season now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Noteworthy. If/when an in-season tournament is approved, the initial schedule will have 80 games per team, not like the regular 82. And the remaining games scheduled after 8 teams advance to knockout rounds of the in-season tournament. Do you think having 2 less games on the schedule is going to make any difference, and having perhaps more games for the 8 teams who advance to this tournament is going to make any effect at all?
You know, I don't quite understand, Mo, but what I have come to understand at my age is that it always comes down to money. And financially, Mo, I have to take a little deep dive and find out how this is going to work out. I'm sure financially it makes sense for the league, for the teams, for them to figure out how to do this. And then if you play an extra game or 2, I don't know how that works at the moment. I'm not sure. Well, it doesn't. Like I have a hard time comprehending what's the problem. Like you have an opportunity to play in 82 games. Like, you know, you hear some people say, "Oh, it's too many games. The travel is too hard." All these things, and I'm thinking, okay, Mo, in full transparency, all right. There were a lot of times where I didn't want to do the closeout drill, okay, in practice. There were a lot of times, Mo, I didn't want to do the defensive slide drill. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of times, Mo, where I didn't want to do the film session. But, Mo, I can't recall a time where I just didn't want to play.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like,
wild to me.
Yeah, you know, but like that one that's a new train of thought. Like, even in practice, you might not have, okay, hey guys, we're doing the shell drill. You're like, God dang, I really want to do this. Okay, I got to box out. We're doing the rotation drills. You're like, oh, you got to find your focus. But when coach said, hey man, we about to scrimmage. Oh, okay. Yep. Now you're talking my language.
That's run fives. BJ, that's run fives. Now you're happy, okay?
Yeah. You're like, okay. Like you said, coach said, okay, we're going to scrimmage. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, not the energy goes up. Everyone starts talking trash. Now, we keep it score. Doing the box out drill, everyone's just quiet. Doing the whatever, the cutoff drills for, full court defense. But I've never, ever experienced this as a player. So I don't really know how to comment about it because I'm like, why are we taking away the games? Like, that was the most fun for me. Mo, you come to the arena, you smell the popcorn. You for us, we put our suit on. You're feeling good, Mo. Your hair is
no Carl
your hair
Kuzma
is tight
for BJ.
yeah, Mo.
Fresh trim.
You got your wave. You got your waves.
Maybe some sunglasses. Maybe some sunglasses.
I have a high top. A high top fade going, Mo. You know what I'm saying? I'm good, Mo. Have my sneakers. I'm ready to go. Like, we get a chance to play a game. What is going on to where reported? I'm just saying, being reported that guys don't want to play. Like, it's too hard. Like, Mo, I get the chance, Mo. I mean, we played 4 games in 5 nights. When I was young, I thought that was the greatest because, Mo, that meant I didn't have to practice. Mo, I didn't have to practice, and all I had to do was play in the game. Now, as I got older, there were other things that I couldn't get my body going. But Mo, when I was young and I got a chance to play 4 games in 5 nights in 4 different cities in the NBA against the best players, are you kidding me, Mo?
I would do literally anything to have that opportunity.
Mo, the coach couldn't practice. Mo, we couldn't practice. So there was no, Mo, we loved playing on back-to-backs on a good team because you had a built-in excuse of slippage on the offense. Like, we can't be as sharp. So we had to play more isolation. And we had this thing where, you tried to get hot because you knew if you were hot, you could carry a moment during the course of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, Mo, that was so much fun. It's like, okay, who gonna feed the pig tonight? That's what we called it. Who's gonna feed the pig tonight? Oh, it was always Jordan, but at least we tried, Mm-hmm. Like, Mo, it was things like that. Like, you're going, man, what happened? Like, why these guys don't want to play? Why they don't want to play in these games?
Do you think that there's any incentive the league could give for a mid-season tournament that would actually entice the players to care more about that than the ultimate prize, which is the Larry O'Brien trophy?
Mo, I have no, Mo, this is beyond me. I'm speechless. I don't know. I don't comprehend it, but obviously the league and the people who work in the league would know better than I do. I mean, Mo, I always, before I even played in the NBA, and if my friends call me and say, let's go get a run. That's free of charge. Mo, I get a chance to get a run. Mm-hmm. Mo, not only do I get a chance to get a run, people show up. I got the ball boys giving me water, giving me towels, and all I got to do, Mo, is go out here and play for 48 minutes. I can't think of anything better. If I could, Mo, I'd still be doing it. So to me, it must be something else that I'm not aware of why guys don't want to play. I mean, Mo, I can't think of anything better to go out and play in a game and get paid to do it.
Man, I wish I could go and do it. I wish I could go and do it right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So I don't know. I don't know.
Speaking of getting out there and scrimmaging, guess who's scrimmaging right now on their way back from injury?
Who's that?
He's putting a smile on my face. Can you guess?
Oh, your guy Robert Williams is
the Time Lords. NBA better watch out. The best team in the NBA is just about to get a whole lot better.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to get better on the other side of the ball. That's for sure.
And you get this aerial lob threat on the inside as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Mo, who has really having a really nice season, and we're not talking about.
You're gone.
It's Marcus Smart.
Yes. Excellent.
Seriously,
I mentioned it the other day on the show, the amount of 10 assist games he's had, how he's really dictating that offense.
You know, I was watching the game the other day, and I don't want to overlook guys like that, because there's some players you watch and you go, these guys could have played in any era. Marcus Smart could have played in
he would have thrived.
90s.
He would have thrived.
Yeah, I mean,
imagine with hand checking. How much better he'd be with hand checking allowed.
And I was watching him the other night, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, the thing I respect about him every night, Mo, is he takes on his matchup every single night.
Takes it personally.
And I was looking at it, I was like, we just kind of overlook that now. Like I always question, like, why are we switching so much? Like, it'd be different if someone screens you, Mo, and you get tied up on the screen. Mm-hmm. If you just walk by another guy, you automatically switch now.
Soft switching is what they call it. Because, and here's the thing, because this really, really irritates me, because it can be applied at any level of basketball. The lack of proper screens in the NBA. Guys will just kind of walk up a little bit and just stand for a second. The player don't even go all the way around them, and they're already walking towards the ball. No, it makes me sick.
Mo, I can't. You see, now you're gonna really, Mo.
I feel like an old man. I feel like I've been chilling with BJ too
Well,
long.
no, Mo. It is.
Back in my day, screens were screens.
I know. It's not even back in the day, Mo. It's like, Mo, you and I are playing a 2-on-2. Like, help me out a little bit.
At this point in my basketball career, I think my best skill is screening.
Mo, guess what the hardest play in basketball is to guard? The screen and roll. Okay? No one screens anymore. I'm so tired of watching all these big slip. Everyone wants to slip the screen. But that's another conversation. Sorry about that.
But if you do manage to set a good screen, Marcus Smart will go through it. He will break every bone in his body to get through the screen.
And I was watching him the other night, and he doesn't automatically switch.
No.
He takes on his matchup.
Takes pride in it.
I just want to say that, because you know what, Marcus. I know we call it, I'm just saying it, I don't know another term right now comes with it. They say, a throwback player. Mm-hmm. Marcus is just, the guy just has a competitive edge to him that's necessary if you're going to have a winning team. Mm-hmm. And he fits that. He has a competitive edge about him.
And here's the thing that's scary for the NBA. The Celtics have had a historically good offense. Everyone's shooting like 40% or better from three. In transition, they're a nightmare. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum destroying guys. Marcus Smart orchestrating the offense. They've had one of the best offenses we've ever seen so far this season. But they've only been mediocre on defense. They've been a top 10 defense for like their last few games, over the last like 8 games. Mm-hmm. But over the course of the whole season, the defense has only been mediocre. They've been outscoring teams. But now we're talking about Rob Williams coming back. Oh, if they can get the defense back to even close to what it was last year, scary hours. Scary hours. It's your favorite phrase.
We're going to see. We're going to see. I love the fact when you add, what's that?
Today's the 1st of December, right? That means there's only 25 days until Christmas Day. And do you know what that means?
I'm assuming the Celtics are playing on Christmas.
Not only are they playing, they're playing the Bucks. And it always delivers great matchups. The NBA Christmas Day games. Oh, man. Now, there's a couple games in there. I mean, there's a couple games in there that we're talking about, the Knicks playing the Sixers. Cool, whatever. The Lakers going to Dallas to get cooked. Okay, cool. The Grizzlies and the Warriors, that's cool. The Suns and the Nuggets, that's cool. But the Celtics and the Bucks, oh, man. My family will not be seeing me on Christmas. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Oh.
The Celtics and the Bucks. I just hope everyone's healthy. I hope Middleton's healthy. I hope Rob Williams is healthy. I hope Giannis is there and Tatum is there, because that might just be the game of the season. That's how we started this episode, talking about the game of the season being the Warriors and the Mavs. But I think this will be the real game of the season on Christmas Day. I can't wait.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to see good competitive basketball. So I'm looking forward to every day. But that in particular has the potential to be a really good matchup.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. And while you guys wait for Christmas, there's only one place to be. And that's with your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, the Hoop Genius podcast, brought to you by NBA 2K23. So make sure you're locked in. Don't go anywhere. If you haven't yet, send me your screenshot of your Spotify top podcast, because I am planning a nice little reward for our most faithful and loyal listeners. And I hope, because there's no limit on how many people can have that, I hope there's even more of you that haven't sent your screenshots yet. And I hope by next year, because if we weren't on your top list right now, first of all, I don't know who you're listening to, but you shouldn't be listening to them. You should be listening to us, but start working for next year. Got to check out every episode every day. I just want to finish by saying thank you to all of you guys once again, because that's why we do this. BJ as well, I'm sure echoes the same sentiment. And BJ, thank you to you for being with us for all of these episodes.
Thank you, Mo. They say it's a gift when you find a podcast that's going to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to the people.
Facts.
And Mo, we got to keep doing what we do.
Oh man, we're gonna have another 200 more, maybe 300 more by this time next year. Who knows? We ain't stopping anytime soon. You guys leave a review, leave a rating that helps us in the podcast charts. Subscribe, share with a friend. If you want to give a great Christmas present to your friend, introduce them to the Hoop Genius podcast. That's all they need. But in the meantime, you guys make sure you get buckets.